phase 1. Welcome to this video on healing and rehabbing your tibia plateau fracture. So what I'm going to do in phase 1 is talk about the non-weight bearing phase and what I did in that. I'm going to talk about the foods that I ate, the things that I didn't do, the supplements that I took, and I'm also going to speak about the mental game and the emotional game. So first off, just a little bit of background on my specific injury and what my break was about. Is the surgeons were basically split. So half of them said she needs an operation, other half says she doesn't. So they were literally split down the middle. No one could decide. So they said, do you know what? It's down to you. Like you get to decide. And they kind of said to me, look, based on what you do, like you're in the health and fitness industry, like you're going to look after it, you will rehab it well. They're like, we're happy for you to make that decision rather than it being down to them. So anyway, I opted to not have surgery. So I opted for a natural heal, should we say, a natural heal. But that meant I couldn't weight bear for 10 weeks, 0 weight bearing. So if you've had an operation, your weight bearing phase will actually be probably shorter, so you'll be able to bear weight probably, I don't know, but listen to your consultant, before that. But because my fracture was unstable, it was super fucking important that I didn't put any weight on it. So again, like as I said in the other video, make sure you are following what your consultant says. Like, please, for the love of God, like if they say don't bear weight on it, please don't fuck your leg up even more. Like seriously, like they are on your side, they're on your team. And if they say don't put weight on it, please don't put weight on it. Please don't put weight on it. Anyway, what I did do in phase 1 was I got my diet on point. So what I mean by this is I ate wholesome, fresh food. Like I had my proteins, so you were talking salmon and chicken, eggs. If you're vegetarian or vegan, make sure that you know what you're doing with that. I was eating wholesome carbohydrates, rice and potatoes. I don't actually have gluten, but each to their own. Eating lots of vegetables and fruits. You know what I mean by wholesome, fresh foods. Like I wasn't eating shit, guys. Basically, like don't become your own worst enemy. Like during this, like this is a healing journey. It is a healing process, and like your body's on your side. Like it wants to heal. So those foods that you're eating will become that healing bone. It's going to become part of you. So making sure that you've got your diet on point is super, super important. The next thing also, I took vitamin D. So for this, don't go to your kind of like dojo health food shops. Like make sure you get like a good quality vitamin D. You can get these ones at the moment, well now, that are like squeezy. Squeezy ones, they kind of squeeze them into your mouth. It's like liquid form, and you want to get like a high. I don't know what the name of it is, but ask the person in the shop where it's basically a high percentage of, it's a high dose of vitamin D, because you're going to get ones which are so low that aren't really going to do anything. So making sure you're getting a good quality vitamin D inside you, and following those instructions on the packet. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about, in phase 1 was around the mental game, like the emotional game. Now some of you guys are going to probably switch the video off when I start talking about this, but that's cool, I'm not doing it for you. But for some of you guys, like, allow yourself to fully feel this. And I don't just mean physically, I mean like seriously, like you've had a bad injury and there's going to be a part of you that's really going to start kind of like feeling pretty shitty about it, and that's okay. That's okay to feel like that. Like if you want to cry, like let it all out. I don't know if you personally journal. I'm a big fan of journaling. I've done it for years and years and years, but I was getting through journals like there was no tomorrow. Like I was writing all of this stuff down, like how I was feeling, how I was thinking, like you know, also bear in mind, like, I run an online health and fitness business, so obviously this is kind of, I was a bit like, oh my god, what am I going to do with this? I've got a broken leg, sort of thing. So, you know, get at how you're feeling, you know, don't allow those feelings and those emotions to get trapped inside of you. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but, you know, your thoughts and your emotions, that inner environment that you're creating, like, it's going to have a massive impact on your recovery. And I remember the first thing that I said to my physio when I met him, and I was it was a fairly bit of a dark time at that point, but he said to me, you know, how you doing, sort of thing. And I was like, yep, I'm going to make a full recovery. I believe I'm going to make a full recovery. And he was like, that's the attitude to have. Like, stick with that, keep going with that, and it's going to take you far. So, you know, get out how you're feeling, and it's okay to feel a bit shit, you know. But also, what I wanted to mention was around beginning to start to think about your body a little bit differently. Like, I'm probably going to get all emotional doing this. But, like, you really start to appreciate, like, actually how amazing your body is. Like, you're not going to do that much for the first, like, however many weeks. And your body is just going to begin to heal that injury for you. Like, you haven't really got to do jack shit. It's just going to do it. Like, that is something to be super, super grateful for. You know, and I was thinking, like, you know, some people have got it so much worse. Some people went into that hospital and they didn't come out walking, and they will never walk again, you know. And I know that seems like a bit of like, hey, you got to be grateful. But, you know, it really does help lift you up, and you really realise, like, wow, do you know what? Actually, you know, I'm really grateful for the health that I do have, and the mobility that I do have, and the stuff that I can do. So that was another thing that kind of, like, helped me kind of come through that time. And also, like, I had a lot of experiences in those first kind of 10 weeks that a lot of stuff kind of happened and shifted for me that I got to kind of reflect on in those times, that after I started getting better and I implemented them, like, things really started to take off. So I also believe that things happen for a reason, and that, you know, it is a big time for reflection. So yeah, that's what I want to share on that. Now, the last thing that I wanted to speak about in phase 1, which was around the exercises that I did do. Now, bear in mind, like, I ran these past my physio, my consultant. Please, like, listen to their voice over and above. Like, the guys know what they're doing. But one thing that I did do was make sure that I was activating my quads. So there's a muscle, I'll show you guys in a sec, but there's a muscle on the, like, inside of, you've got 4 quad muscles, and your VMO, your vastus medialis. I know the names, but I'm terrible pronouncing them. So it's the muscle on the inside of your knee, basically, or of your quads, and it's really important for knee health and knee strength. And what can happen, especially around knee injuries, is that if you've broken your tibia up by your knee, which I did, it was in a really fucking awkward place where I broke it. There were words of my physio. That what can happen is that your leg basically, like, can get locked, and you get quad inhibition, which basically means you can't extend your knee properly and your leg properly. Now, that can lead to all sorts of problems later on, because, like, I'm not sure how interested, like, you guys are, but I think just to give a bit of background as to how important this is, like, your VMO muscle will only contract and fire up on the last kind of, I think it's 15 degrees, it might be 15 to 20 degrees of your knee bend, but also in the last kind of, like, you know, 5 to 10% or something like that. So think about it, if your knee is not extending properly and doing that, then that's going to lead to kind of, like, you know, all sorts of problems later on. So I'm going to demonstrate now, like, what I did, and I ran this past my consultants, and they said, yeah, you can do this. You're allowed to do this, Bray. So how do I do this? Okay. I only discovered, literally, I've had this camera for, I'm not joking, like 3 years, and I only discovered that I could do that. It was about 6 weeks ago, not even that. Anyway, so what I was doing, so I was in this position for basically 10 weeks. I hardly moved. But what I was doing is, how you do this is basically have your legs like this, and you just do that, Can you see that? As I'm doing that, I was just extending and making them work basically, and it was pushing, basically like pushing your knee into the bottom of the mat or the bed or wherever you're at, and what you'll find, and flex your toe as well. So make sure your toe is like that, so it's up like that. That's just going to help it a little bit more. And I was just doing that, and I started doing that. I'm going to put it back now. I started doing that. Whoops. Probably within the first 7 to 10 days. And by the way, I did get permission. I got permission to do that. But it was really important to get those muscles like working, so they don't basically completely go to sleep. So yeah, that was my phase 1. So I was 10 weeks in phase 1. I started doing a little bit of other things towards the end, but that was basically it. So comment down below, like how you're getting on with it, like what you're doing, how's your rehab going, like any questions you've got on that, also like pop them down below too. So speak to you guys soon. Mwah!